you can see what I'm showing you now. Can you just give us a thumbs up if you can see that, Sophie? Fab. Right, okay. So today we are going to discuss creating raving fans. Might seem a bit extravagant, especially for smaller businesses who've maybe got, when you've only got a small budget. But creating raving fans is the thing that it's kind of the oil for the business. If you can get customers to love you, even if you've only got 1 or 2 customers, if they love you, then they'll tell other people, and things will go from there. So the first thing is what is a raving fan? So a raving fan is somebody who will talk to all their friends, colleagues, everyone they know about what great service that you've created. That doesn't have to be a service business; it could be a product business, it could be whatever. But a raving fan is somebody who's effectively going to do the marketing for you. So it's basically it's what used to be called word of mouth. Obviously, it still is called word of mouth. But if you can get a raving fan, it's not just somebody who will go, yeah, they're all right. This is somebody who goes, you really, really have to use this business, or you have to use this service. And that will go a long way, because people like to buy from other people. They like to have third-party recommendations about how good something is and about how well the service works. So the first thing to think about, and this kind of goes back to something we always talk about on all our training courses and to all our clients, is what problem do you solve? Because if no matter how good of a product you've got, for example, a Ferrari is an amazing product, but the problem for people who want a Ferrari is they want a really fast car. They want to be able to show off their wealth. They maybe want, I'm not really sure what people want with a Ferrari, to be honest, because it's not, I don't want a Ferrari. So for that example, the thing is, well, what problems Ferrari solve for me? Well, none. So I'm not interested in a Ferrari. It's just not something that I care about. But if you can work out what problems your customers have, and you can work out how to solve them in their unique way, then you're gonna become part of their life, part of their business, by being able to uniquely solve the problem that they have. And by able to do that, by being able to fix to their niche and not to a kind of a general problem, you're going to become far more valuable to them. What is really key is not to be meh, not to be an average business, not to be well, what they do is okay. You either need to be amazingly great or actually amazingly poor as well, because being amazingly poor means that you will get, or you should be aware enough to get lots of feedback to get yourself from poor past average to be amazing and being really great on your niche. The worst thing you want anyone to be able to think about your business or you as a person is that you're if anyone's seen the Lego movie, a real key element of that is Emmett, the main character. Nobody knows who he is. Everyone's like, Emmett goes missing and nobody cares. People's like, well, I don't even know who he was. He had no unique skills, no unique input. He wasn't particularly seen as valuable. He was just an also-ran. And there are lots of also-rans, lots of businesses out there who kind of do things in a really average kind of way. Average businesses are really going to struggle to kind of grow. And that doesn't mean that they have to have multi-million-pound budgets or be highly skilled. But what they have to do is do something that is seen of value to their customers, even if their customers are only 1, 2, 3, or 4 people. If they're valuable to them, then they're gonna ignite. They're gonna really take off. So one of the key things to work out is, why do your customers love you? And that can be done in all sorts of ways. So you can send out questionnaires. You can just speak to your customer and find out, why do they love what you do for them? Why do they keep coming back to you time and time again? And even if they only come back to you every now and again, it's like, well, why do you keep coming back? What am I doing that's unique? If you don't know why customers love you, you obviously need to go out and ask them, and then work out other ways to try and make you unique, so that customers will love you, so that your service, your business becomes kind of unique and sticky. Again, even if it's just a really, really niche thing. So this is your starting point, is what problem do you solve? How can you make what you do be more unique and not kind of also ran? And then how from there can you engender that so that your customers love what you do? And by making them love what you do, they will be more inclined to tell other people about how amazing you are and what kind of service and why they think their peers, their colleagues should use your service. How's that sounding so far, Sophie?
Yeah, it's good so far. It's already making me think of like just the way we structure things for our clients and the way we go ahead and tackle their problems for their customers. So yeah, good so far.
Okay, cool. Okay, so I'll carry on, but feel free to chip in if you've got a particular point. Any
Yeah.
particular thoughts, just shout up. Okay.
Okay, no problem.
So this is a brand everyone knows. Everyone loves Apple phones. I've got one. You can't see it. I was showing it to them, but you can't see it looking at my slides, aren't you? So I've got an Apple phone. I've used Apple products for a long, long time. I used to be a graphic designer, and I've still got one of the original iMacs that my wife. It gets really frustrated with because I won't allow her to throw it away. We've had to find somewhere in a cupboard to put it. I won't even let her put it in the loft or the shed. It has to be wrapped up. It has to be somewhere safe. Even though I've not turned it on in 15 years. Still works, by the way. Apple create raving fans like this because there's no other phone product in the market that makes people queue around the block to get the brand new phone when it comes out. Even though ostensibly an Apple phone is no better than a Samsung phone or a Huawei or any other kind of phone. They're all kind of they all still have apps. They all make phone calls, but for some reason, Apple have built it into their DNA. This is what they do. They create passionate customers. Generally, don't get passionate Samsung customers. You definitely potentially don't get passionate Huawei customers. You do get people who are crazy about Apple phones and will not change. I'm one of those. I just won't change.
I'm one of those too. I'm not gonna lie.
And so what makes you a raving fan about Apple, Sophie?
I don't know what started it, to be honest, but I literally went from, I remember I had the iPod Touch back in the day, and then I just sort of carried on upgrading, so I ended up getting the phone version, and then it's just the same, like my whole family were just on Apple.
Yeah.
But I know like my boyfriend is actually a mad Samsung user, so he always keeps trying to convert me to Samsung, and I'm like, not going to happen. Like, you're wasting your breath.
So what makes him so passionate about Samsung phone? Because that's interesting.
He seems to think it's got a lot more features than what Apple has, but I can't agree with him.
Okay. Okay, cool. So on to our next little example. These are Adidas Superstar trainers. Now, I'm wearing these today. These are the only trainers I ever buy. I've had Adidas Superstars since I was a teenager. Again, they're no better than Nikes, particularly. They're just bog standard running shoes. I don't use these for any kind of sport, any kind of training whatsoever. These are just for everyday wear. I could equally get a pair of Nikes or a pair of Puma or whatever. But for me, these just look right. They look right. They feel right. I like the styling. I like the kind of everything else that goes with it. Because I see people in the street who wear these, are probably about my age, if I'm honest, who are still kind of following that. It makes me feel kind of part of a tribe. Gives me belonging. I also know that whenever I buy a pair of these, they last forever. I've literally just thrown away 2 pairs of these because they were literally falling to pieces. But I'd had them for maybe 10 years. So I've had a pair of trainers for 10 years and I could still wear them. They'd still be comfortable. They're still waterproof. They're really well made and they look right for me. When I look down at my feet and I've got these on, it feels right. If I have any other kind of trainers and I look down at my feet, it feels wrong. So I'm a passionate follower of Adidas Superstars. I will not wear any other pair of trainers. I've tried Nikes, I've tried Puma, I've tried all these others, but they're not right for me. So I'm not a huge fan of everything else. But Adidas Superstars is my trainer. The next example we've got is, and this is one where you can change people's perceptions sometimes. So really boring, but forever and ever, we had a Dyson Hoover. Dyson Hoover is a brilliant British designed. They do a really, really great job. This is a G-Tech Air-Am, and G-Tech Air-Am started off by doing kind of direct marketing, advertising via TV, and they were all over the TV. It was the owner of G-Tech, the designer, who used to do the adverts, and I think he still does. And my wife kind of said, "Oh, that looks good because it's a cordless vacuum and it's what we needed. We've got a 3-story house, and moving a traditional plug-in vacuum up and downstairs is exhausting and not great. Also, because this has got a battery, it means you can charge it and it lasts for kind of 45 minutes. And she convinced me to buy one, and we spent nearly £400 on this and the kind of handheld thing, which seems extravagant to me. But once we got it, it was a revelation. The fact that it looks nice, it does a great cleaning job, and people who came to the house would go, "What's that? What have you got there?" And so we tell them, "Well, we used to have a Dyson, but now we have a GTK Aram, and it does a far better job. And look at it, it looks really nice, and it just kind of sits in the corner of the room, and we can charge it, and then it's cordless. We can move it up and downstairs, and it works really well." So this is a case of where we've been converted from being a fan of Dysons into being a fan of GTK Aram, and it kind of rolled from there. And now we tell anyone says, "Oh, I need a new Hoover," we'll tell them to buy a GTK Aram. And these are the kind of things, once you get raving fans, people just out off their own back will recommend different products. This one is a particular thing of mine. So I'm from Sheffield originally, and for anyone who doesn't know, this is called Henderson's Relish. Now, Henderson's Relish is often compared to Worcester sauce. However, it's completely different. It's absolutely not the same thing whatsoever. It is completely vegetarian, completely vegan, and they've been making it in Sheffield for over 100 years. Originally bottled in a little factory that's still, the building's still there. You can still smell Henderson's Relish, but they don't make it there anymore. It's unique to Sheffield, or was. Every house in Sheffield will have a bottle of Henderson's Relish, I guarantee it. And if anyone's ever eaten a pie or a stew or chips or anything, the Henderson's will always come out, and it will be put on the table. And if it's missing, people get upset. They'll start worrying about not being able to get the last bottle of Henderson's. If they're away from Sheffield and they're stuck and they can't get Henderson's Relish, people will buy it and have it imported. There are famous stories of the Sheffield actor Sean Bean away filming wherever he was in New Zealand when he was filming Lord of the Rings. He would have it imported, so he would have Henderson's Relish sent across. It's that important. At one point, an MP went to Sheffield and was disgusted because he found this Henderson's Relish, and he went back to the Parliament and said, "This stuff is trying to rip off the name of Worcester sauce." And actually, there was a big thing about it because the Sheffield MPs went, "Actually, this has been brewed in Sheffield for over 100 years, and no, it's not trying to rip off Worcester sauce. It's its own thing." So people of Sheffield are really passionate about Henderson's Relish, and the reason I've used this as an example is that it's a good example of a smaller brand. This is just for Sheffield. This is not Apple. This is not Adidas. This is not GTK Aram. They built it up slowly over time, over hundreds of years, in fact, over 100 years, sorry, to make people really passionate about it. And people are so passionate about it that they're even starting to create fan art. So these pictures you can see here, I have these pictures in my kitchen. It's fan art from it perfectly puts back to it's Henderson's Relish is uniquely positioned in Sheffield. So these pictures kind of allude of Sheffield, so fueling the city of Sheffield, with its very passionate place. So there's lots of that. At one point, there were some towers at the outskirts of Sheffield. They were cooling towers, Tinsley Viaduct it was called, and they got flattened. So this picture of fueling the city, you can see, emotes the Tinsley Viaduct towers. Again, this other one of there's something in the water. It fixes it back in Sheffield. It's a very Sheffield thing. There's no getting away from it. There's nothing more passionate if you can get people to effectively tattoo themselves. This person has got Hendo's tattoo on their arm. I mean, that's got to be the ultimate level of passion. If you can get people to be so passionate about what you're doing that they'll do that.
I think this one needs to be a level up from Raving Fans. This one, this is like an extra level.
Yeah. Having a Henderson's tattoo is actually probably a bit extreme, to be honest. It's another level to get people to have a tattoo. In the other picture, you can see that people, it's kind of when they've found Henderson's Relish, when they've discovered it somewhere unexpected or they've seen it. In there, you can see the smaller bottles of Henderson's Relish right at the front. Recently, I went to a wedding and a friend of mine had they had pie and peas for the wedding lunch, for the wedding tea, whatever it's called, and everyone had their own little bottle of Henderson's that was all labelled up specially for the wedding. Again, being such a Sheffield thing, years ago, Sheffield United and Sheffield Wednesday, the football teams, got to the FA Cup semi-final. And being a Sheffield thing, they created rival bottles. So they created a blue and white stripe one and a red and white stripe one. And so they built them factions, but still with that Sheffield feel to it. They're really nice and really clever at pushing the local buttons, which is where it's key. So what do all those have in common? They all have a focus. So they all focus on what their unique abilities are, what their unique positioning is. So Apple focus on the technology, and it focuses on doing things that Apple users want. Not necessarily the perfect thing for what other users want, but Apple users want particular things. They want a nice particular Apple feel about it, so they focus on that. Adidas again will focus on different strata of things. So they do certain trainers for people who are actual athletes, but then another complete style set for people who are casual wearers, people who want to wear it for fashion reasons rather than those other elements. G-Tech AirRam focus on making kind of wireless products. They've diversified from just Hoovers. They now do garden utensils and things, but they're all based on this battery feel, this ecology thing, and the design as well. And Henderson's Relish, well, they just focus on making amazing relish and working in the city to really power that. They care and nurture for the customers, so they listen to feedback. They develop new elements to their customers. They're really good at customer service. They understand who they're speaking to, and they say thank you. So again, like I said about the Sheffield United and Sheffield Wednesday thing for Henderson's Relish, that was a way of saying, acknowledging the business, acknowledging the city. Sorry. And again, Apple will praise and thank their followers by giving them prior notice of things, by doing amazing things like the customer service levels that they give when you go into the Apple store. They really understand what's going on, and they get customers to market for them. As we saw with the Apple products, the Apple, effectively you get that anyway, so you're walking around with your phone. A really cool thing that Apple did was, and this started with the iPod that you mentioned, they gave everyone white headphones. This sounds really simple, but the white headphones helped everyone who had an iPhone stand out from the crowd. Every other phone had black headphones. The headphones effectively they're no better quality, but the white headphones signaled that in your pocket you had an iPhone and you were in the in crowd. So just those white headphones marketed Apple phones just on their own without having to do anything too clever. The headphones make a big distinction, which is actually where they might have lost a little bit of traction with the new wireless headphones, because they're kind of hidden. You can't necessarily see people wearing those. With a white cable, you could see precisely what type of phone people had, even without them ostensibly showing the phone, which was really clever. Again, going back to the example of Henderson's Relish, if you've got somebody who's got a Henderson's Relish tattoo on their arm, then yes, they're marketing for you. They're effectively a walking billboard. That's a bit extreme. So after everything we've shown on here, you have to work out what's best for your business. Not all these tactics will work for business. You no doubt don't have millions of dollars like Apple do to do their level of brand and Super Bowl advertising, even in the 80s. What you need to do is work out what's going to work for you at your particular level, and that's why we went through some from the large examples through to the smaller ones. This is Charlie, who runs Hillside Fisheries. He runs a chip shop which is in a small village called Ackworth, which is between Pontefract and Wakefield. Population's about 8,000 people. So he doesn't want to spend lots of money on brand advertising. He's just selling chips. But what he does do is he understands his customers. He speaks to them. He looks after them. We run local competitions. He cares about the local area. And what happens then is he gets local coverage. So this is Charlie on the Pontefract and Castleford Express. Something as simple as win free fish and chips for a year. when we ran this campaign from it went crazy. We were reaching 20, 30,000 people. There were only, as I said, 7,000, 8,000 people in Ackworth to begin with. So the exposure we were getting was huge. But by focusing it local, we were really touching on what was happening in the area. If we'd run this in the Daily Mirror, it wouldn't have worked because obviously people aren't going to travel for miles and miles and miles fish and chips. But it was focused on a particular area. And what that does is it translates into this. A huge crew outside is small chip shop, as you can see. It's not a huge shop. But by doing local marketing and really understanding who we were speaking to and speaking in the right frame of mind to the right people, we drive lots of people into buy fish and chips at hillside fisheries. So, in summary, what do we need to do? So, in the beginning, you need to understand who your customers are, what problem you solve, give them a reason to give a shit, why should they care, and then work out why the customers love you, and that becomes a kind of moving cycle on that. Moving on, you then need to focus on the core customer needs, because without that you'll lose track. You need to care for and nurture your customers, reward your fans, and then finally that will end up with them getting to market for you. So that's how to kind of create raving fans, and that's kind of the end of the presentation. So I'm just going to flip back I'm going to stop sharing the screen when I can work out how to do that. All right. Stop share. So there we go. So Sophie, can you see me again now?
I can, yeah.
Okay. So do you have any questions from that? Any thoughts?
It's more of thoughts, to be honest. It's like the things you were saying, even about the Adidas trainers. It's like, it's crazy to think. I don't know if it's more generational thing or if just people genuinely just buy into a different sort of marketing or anything like that. But my dad, for instance, is like you. He will only wear Adidas trainers. Like I remember one of his birthdays, me and my sister chipped in a couple of years ago now and got him some Nike trainers, and he was just, you could see as soon as he opened the box, he was like, what have they done this for? Because it was just, it's not something that he wanted. Like, it's never something he would wear before. So, like, he has avidly been a fan of the Adidas trainers. So we literally took them back and got him some.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same thing. I don't think my family would ever buy me a pair of Nike trainers.
Yeah.
It's like dad wears Adidas trainers.
Yeah, and even the Apple headphones, like I've got some in now.
Yeah.
But I do have the wireless ones too.
Yeah.
But I do remember the massive sort of buzz when they switched to the wireless ones, because you had a lot of people that were being like, oh, this is silly, blah blah blah, I'm always going to lose them, or you had people like, I need them.
Yeah.
So you had both. And then it took me a little bit longer, I'm not going to lie, because I was still quite attached to these ones. But then I did. I went and got it myself. So they've got me, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's key, but as I said, it can be applied not just to a small, not to a large business necessarily like Apple, because it works really well.
Yeah.
But even down to a really small level at the Henderson Service level and the hillside fisheries. So within Ackworth, we've got people, as you know, we've got people within Ackworth who will only go to hillside fisheries. There are other chip shops in Ackworth. I think there are another 2, but people will only go to Charlie's. And I'm sure for the other chip shops as well, there were people who won't go to Charlie's, who will only go to those. But then he gets a kind of core audience of people, and then that ends up being people going back to work and saying, oh, I got fantastic fish and chips for my tea last night. Or where did you go? I went to hillside fisheries. And go, oh, I've never tried that. And then it starts rolling.
Yeah.
So that's why it's really key to do that and to create raving fans wherever you can. And it does really pay off.
I think with the smaller businesses as well, and obviously like knowing Charlie now, it's a big case of people buy into people first, And I think that's really what has helped him along, because not only is it him and his personality and his business, but it's the fact that he reacts to his clients, or his customers, and he, like you say, he treats them well, he rewards them and all that sort of stuff. So they buy into him and his business, but he rewards that to keep them coming back, sort of thing.
Yeah, excellent. Okay, so we're just hitting 1, so I'm going to wrap up now. So is there any more questions you've got, Sophie?
No, I'm good.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for taking one, and
All right.
we'll organise the next one.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.